Hello again, and welcome to Confessions of American Soccer Junkie, the American Soccer Junkie podcast. This is episode number 4. We've stuck around longer than anyone would have given us in the early Vegas odds. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're coming back for more. I'm here with, as always, my good friend Steve Fogarty.
How's it going? We now have more episodes than the average NBC show, so we're doing pretty good.
We have, what was that? What was that show? The Do No Harm lasted 2 episodes. So
Ready for Love, that show about those guys who were looking for love. We never found out if they did because that was gone after a week.
Let's hope for their sake they found it. But you're not here to listen to us talk about shitty NBC shows. So we're here to talk about some American soccer. We had some big news with the upcoming May camp, 2 friendlies and 3 qualifiers coming up the next couple weeks, not to mention the Gold Cup after. That's going to be busy, so get ready to hear us on a probably a weekly basis for the next month or so. But we're going to start out today with, of course, the squad that Jürgen Klinsmann named for the upcoming May camp. Some of these guys will make it through, because he named 31 players. It was 29 initially. Then he went and added 2 more. Some of these guys will stick around through the qualifiers. Some might even through the Gold Cup, like we know Stuart Holden will be there. The rest, well, some of them are going to get dropped. And we can probably predict 3 of those getting dropped pretty quickly, because for some reason he called in 6 goalkeepers. Do you have any idea why he might call in 6 goalkeepers?
I was initially perplexed as to why he did this, and then I was looking on Twitter, and it seems that with Howard Guzan 1-2 solid, that's not changing anytime soon. They don't want to essentially screw any one MLS team. So you bring in Romano. So you screw Johnson 4 MLS teams? Sally Hall. So basically they're just going to rotate these guys in and out so that one MLS team isn't screwed. It's stupid in the fact that none of these guys are going to play unless there's an absolute disaster. So, I mean, I'm fine with it. I could care less who the third goalkeeper is. They might as well give it to Nick Rimando because he's old. He's old.
I mean, it's basically you're basically weighing the argument of, do you want to bring in one of the young guys to get them experience, keep them in the camp like a Johnson or a Hamid, or do you want to bring in the experienced veteran guy, Rimando, who's 33. Tally Hall will probably, if he's come on of late. Yeah, I could see him maybe when Howard leaves taking over the second jersey, but I'm pretty sure that's Johnson's or Hamid's to lose.
Yeah, I was surprised that Billy Hall got called in. I mean, I guess maybe you're trying to find out who's going to be the Gold Cup starter, but it's essentially irrelevant who's wearing that number 22, 23 shirt, so.
Yep. So we know what we know about this team. There was really no surprises. I mean, the biggest surprise was just the sheer numbers. But you have Howard Guzan, Rimando is going to be the 3 that suit up for the qualifiers. Almost money in the bank right there.
Yeah.
But where things start getting a little bit more interesting is on the defense, and it's not so much who was called in. It's just what position they were called in to. That of course, is referring to our good friend DeMarcus Beasley.
Yeah, and we've mentioned this, I think, on every episode that this DeMarcus Beasley at fullback experiment that Klinsmann is doing, it worked out fine when they were playing in a blizzard, and then they got essentially lucky that Mexico came out so flat in Azteca, because I believe he picked up a yellow card, 4 minutes into the game?
It was quick.
There is going to be a time when this bites us in the ass. I'm saying it right now. You have a player who, for his entire career, has been playing on the wing as a playmaking, essentially attacker, and now you're moving him to defense, and I'm hoping this happens in the friendlies where he just gets torched, and this just puts it, because I don't want to see DeMarcus Beasley cost us a qualifier.
No, and like Germany and Belgium definitely have the talent that it could easily exploit Beasley, but I honestly could see because the Flanders will be rotating players in. He might be okay for whatever spell he's out there at the left back berth. Where really worried about it is Jamaica, because Beasley still has the speed at what 31. He's still got the speed, and that's what Jamaica brings is speed, so he can keep up with them. But if he gets stuck caught out of position, he doesn't where he normally will have the speed to get back and recover. He won't have that luxury against Jamaica.
Yeah, and you saw what Jamaica did in the Mexico game. They were just picking Mexico apart, and that's with defenders who have a much better understanding of positioning than the Marcus Beasley. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly Beasley can bring to the table. And I'm not entirely optimistic. I mean, this is one of these situations where he's gone all in with Beasley twice, and both times it's worked out. But eventually, if you keep going all in, eventually you're going to bust. And this seems like it's only a matter of time, because I was terrified watching the Mexico game anytime the ball was played on that side of the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and you look at the other options for fullback, and it's left back for literally the last 20 years has been a terrifying position for U.S. soccer, and you look at the rest of the options, and it's still a little scary because you see Fabian Johnson there. He thought he took over, but apparently now Klinsmann is thinking about moving him up the field a little bit, playing on the left wing because that's where he's playing more with Hoffenheim.
I like Johnson in that left back position just because he seems like he has the work rate where he can get forward and become part of the attack while not compromising his position.
Yep.
In the back.
It's just you just have to. It really depends on what Klinsmann decides to do, and you hope that he just hands it to him and says you have more freedom to go forward. And the thing is, if you play them both on the wing, I mean, if you're playing them both on the left wing, you have to hope that it's Johnson playing left back and Beasley playing up the field. Because if the thing is, even if Beasley is not a natural left back, if he's playing on the left wing and Johnson makes some marauding run up the sideline, Beasley has enough defensive sense that he can get back and cover for him, which is the one redeeming quality of this experiment.
Yeah, that's true. Also, even with the midfield, you have a guy like Jermaine Jones who's been around forever playing big matches. He's the type of guy who could see that happening and, shifting over a little bit just to stop whatever run. He seems to have a pretty good sense of positioning too. Mm-hmm. And I could see him switching over to the left.
We're talking about this back line. Just read out the guys that were called in. We have Goodson, Cameron, Parkhurst was called in for the first time in a couple camps. Johnson, Edgar Castillo, Omar Gonzalez, Matt Beasler, and late addition Corey Ash from the Houston Dynamo. Now you look at that, and there is aside from the Goodson, Gonzalez, Beasler, who are like they're going to stay in the center of the park. Everyone else seems to there's some more flexibility in there. You have Cameron who can play around. He can play pretty much anywhere on the back line. Probably more preferred on the right, and he thinks his best position is still the middle. Parkhurst likewise can play on both flanks. Can play through the middle if necessary. Johnson played in the friendly victory over Mexico. Johnson played on the right. So there's a lot of flexibility back here. It's just more about finding the right mix.
Yeah, I like obviously Gonzalez, Beasler.
Mm-hmm.
You would expect to be the two in the center.
Yep.
I'd like to see Cameron just locked in on that right side for these 5 games. He's been playing there for the majority of the second half of the Premier League season with Stoke, and he did all right. He had ups and downs, but towards the end he was playing better. Mm-hmm. So then that's 3/4 of the defense solidly locked in, and now it's just figuring out this mess at left back, which is why, once again, I'm going to say, why don't you call in Steve Cherundolo, who I know he had been hurt, but he did just played the full 90 in Hanover's last game.
Yeah, that's like I keep reading things that are kind of excusing like him not being called in for being hurt. He is back. doesn't.
Yeah, and there shouldn't be any excuses. This is you're trying to qualify for a World Cup.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if Klinsmann's looking to build toward the future. If you don't qualify, there is no future.
exactly. Klinsmann's future is entirely dependent on this qualifying campaign.
Yeah.
So, the other option, talking about that left back, what are your thoughts on Edgar Castillo?
He has not impressed me at all when he's been on the national team.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't caught a lot of Tijuana games, but they completely went in the tank in 2013.
Yep.
So he doesn't exude much confidence, at least in me. Then again, I haven't seen him play that much.
I had been reading that. I believe, was it the Copa Libertadores? Butchering that. Apparently Tijuana, because they were champions last year in one of. I don't understand the way the Mexican League works. It's like 2 different seasons. It's I probably should do a better job if I'm going to be writing and talking about soccer and trying to sound intelligent. But I'll work on that. Do you have a grasp on that?
No, I looked into this extensively. I spent about 20 minutes going through trying to figure out how this works. And I was more confused than I was before I started reading it. And, I mean, not to toot our own horns, we consider ourselves pretty intelligent guys when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I have no idea. I'm going to set off the censor. I have no idea what the fuck the Mexican League, how it works, it's confusing. I mean, there has to be a better way to explain it. Because, yeah, they won the first half, and then they played a whole new season.
Yep. Hey, whatever works. As long as they're getting games, for us, that's what matters.
Yeah, but it didn't work, because Tijuana they stopped playing well.
Yeah, but because they won that first one, they still get to play in the Copa Libertadores, and they were defeated by Atletico Mineiro, so Ronaldinho's club. But reading the reading a story on Yahoo Sports right now, it's Castillo's getting rave reviews. He apparently caused Mineiro a lot of problems on the left side. Another left back who's not a stay-at-home guy. He apparently likes to get up a little more. We haven't seen that as much. I remember hearing that when he first changed over to the U.S. from Mexico. But he kind of he looked very tentative whenever he gets on the field for the U.S.
Well, if they want him to move up, if they want him to go forward from that position, that's fine with me, because you have Cameron, who's not really a player who's known for going up. He's more of a stay-at-home towards. He'll go up a little bit, but not too much. But if Edgar Castillo wants to, try to become a playmaker from the left-hand side, I have no problem with him trying to do that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I kind of would like to see him get the majority of a game in one of those friendlies, just to kind of, because if he has been developed, because when he first came in, he's still young. I need to look at how old he is.
He's 26.
He's 26. He got 26 fast. He was like 21. I remember when we were first looking at him, he was 21, 22.
Yeah, all these guys are getting older fast.
What does that say about us?
I don't know.
Not good things.
No.
Yeah, so he still has a couple years ahead of him. He still give him the benefit of the doubt that he's still kind of figuring it out. So hopefully, if he's really had a better last season or two, give him one of those games where there is no consequences if he's not very good, and if he's not up to snuff, we can figure something out then, because right now it kind of seems like if we're going with natural left backs, he's number 2 in the pecking order behind Johnson, or in a horrible world of Klinsmann moving both Johnson and Beasley up and keeping one of them on the bench, he could be starting.
Yeah, I think give him the Germany game, because Germany didn't exactly bring a loaded roster.
No.
So he could get forward with less consequence than Belgium, who basically brought the first team.
Yeah.
with who's of players who can get forward and score goals. So that would be my prediction for where Castillo would get his chance. But we'll see. These games are these two friendlies, even though they don't mean anything, they can tell a whole lot about what's going on with this team.
Yeah. We'll delve a little bit into that, deeper into that coming up. But so now let's move on. Any other defensive players you want to talk about?
No, Gonzalez, Beasler.
We kind of know we're getting.
Solid.
Parkhurst. It's almost surprising that he was called in. I think that's more of. I feel like that would have been Cherundolo's spot. Maybe Klinsmann had more hesitation about Cherundolo's injury than Cherundolo even, or Hanover, but because Parkhurst hasn't been playing since he moved to Augsburg.
Yeah, and we're going to definitely get into this when we talk about the midfield. But Klinsmann said, if you're not playing for your club, we're not going to call you in.
Oh yeah, I know who you're going to be targeting with that one.
Yeah, it's not just me. I think you're probably pretty opinionated on it too.
Oh yeah, I am. I know he's your biggest pet peeve of Klinsmann boys.
Yeah, yeah, Parkhurst. I mean, he's always been solid when he's played, so I have no problem with him just adding depth. So I'm not like other people I was seeing on Twitter. People were like, "What the hell's he doing here?" I have no problem with that.
Yeah, he's been solid. You know what you're getting with him. He's just gonna kind of come in, do it, put in a shift, and get off the pitch. He's not gonna hurt you.
Yeah, and I mean with all these young players, and by young I mean players who don't have the caps.
Yeah,
he's been around the block. He knows what he has to do. I don't think he's gonna be intimidated by this whole situation.
Yeah, no, but I mean you understand. I understand like at this point he's a CONCACAF player. He's not gonna. You bring him into the World Cup and. Some of those teams might be the lights might be a little too bright, even. But he can definitely do a job for us.
And then just one more, just Clarence Goodson. Old veteran, fine. I have no problem with him being on this team right now.
I think it's very solid. Him as with Bocanegra now completely out of the picture, having the Gonzalez Beasler pair. And then having Goodson as that third center back, I think is pretty much is what we're going with. But then always you have Cameron, you can shift back Adu, but I like Goodson. Goodson fits his role pretty well.
Yeah, it's good to have him there.
And one guy we were talking about, the last man added to the roster, Klinsmann added way after. Corey Ash added just for the Belgian friendly. We were talking about this before. He said. I believe the technical term is a sprightly man, standing 5'5" in shoes. I don't know. He's coming in just for the Belgium game. As we talked about our lack of depth on the fullback position, I think maybe see what he has to offer if he plays well in that Belgium game, gets a couple minutes, looks good in camp, bring him back in for the Gold Cup. No harm there.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, now moving to the midfield, called in a pretty deep midfield for this camp. No names that are particularly surprising. You have DeMarcus Beasley coming in, Michael Bradley, Maurice Adu, Sasha Kleston, Jermaine Jones, Stuart Holden, Rex Shea, Danny Williams, Graham Zusi, the Brads, Davis and Evans, and Joe Corona. Opening thoughts there? I'm sorry, Beasley was called in as a defense, so I just looking at a different roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the same page you are looking at the roster where they have Beasley incorrectly listed as a midfielder.
Yep.
My first thought is I'm just going to discard the Brads. They do nothing for me.
Brad, I keep hearing about, is it Davis or Evans who's got the killer left foot that everyone talks about?
I think it's Davis.
I think you're right. I think Evans kind of he's.
But Davis was so bad in the Mexico game.
Yeah, he'll keep getting shots, and these are two guys that will probably be anchoring that Gold Cup team. If one of them sticks through the qualifiers, maybe they'll be given a reprieve and allowed to go back to their club for the Gold Cup. But if I don't see, I can see them being two of the guys that are dropped after the friendlies, and we'll have a nice role playing time in the Gold Cup.
All right, so I'm in a pretty good mood today, so I'll start with the good. I really like Joe Corona being called into this team.
Yep.
Just playing for Tijuana, who we went over with Goodson. He can play both wing positions, and they can put him in as an attacking midfield. I like his versatility, and I like the fact that he's only 22.
Yep.
And he's been playing. I think this is his third professional season, so he's got a lot of experience for a 22-year-old. So I'm really happy that he's on this team, and I hope he sees significant playing time.
Yep.
Considering the wing options are not particularly.
Yeah, he's been playing. I was reading something. He's been playing a lot more around the pitch. Like he can not only slot in on those wings, but he can also if in one of those friendlies. Because Klinsmann's been playing like less of a 4-3-3, more of a. I mean, you probably could call it 4-3-3, but more of a 4-2-3-1 with a three across underneath Josie.
Yeah.
So and apparently he is able to slot into that Clint Dempsey withdrawn role too. So you can pretty much play him all across that three, and I think experimenting with that, maybe even against Belgium, throw him in a tough game and see what he can do. And I would like to see I would like to learn a little bit more about him because he has potential.
Yeah, definitely. He's I just love players like that who are versatile, who you can play all over the pitch. Mm-hmm. You can put them in any situation. Yeah. Let's see. You have Bradley and Jones obviously manning the middle, as has been the status quo.
Yep, with Adu backing them up.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see what we get out of Stuart Holden. We covered that a lot last time.
Yep.
We'll see what type of form Holden is in. I assume this is his audition to play on the Gold Cup squad.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty much locked up that spot. Klinsmann already, apparently, he's been talking with Bolton, and they've locked him in because he needs to play games, and if he immediately goes in the off season, just like 2 months after really returning to fitness, it's not going to do him much good. So
he needs reps, and this camp is more for getting him in the Gold Cup and solidifying him for the last 4 qualifiers after these 3 end.
Yep.
Let's see, what do we have? Then we have Graham Zusi, who seems to be solidly in place on one of the wings, which, I mean, I still haven't seen really anything that, excites me about the way he plays. So.
Yeah, he's good. He can throw in a good cross every once in a while, but the way our teams play is we need someone who can move the ball more on the ground than Zusi. But he does okay. Nothing impressing, but nothing particularly impressive. Except for,
he's an underrated defender.
Yeah,
he's pretty good at getting back, but on a team that's so devoid of attacking options, he's not somebody that's going to get you excited, which is why I wish that they'd put like DeMarcus Beasley in at a wing just to push Graham. Yeah. Number one, DeMarcus Beasley's probably a better wing than Graham Zusi.
Yeah, I mean Graham Zusi's most impressive contribution to this team is his just awesome hair, dynamic flow. But it's I think when you can't mention Zusi without thinking about, you look at this roster and you look about who's not on it. Landon Donovan.
And the word came out, I believe it was it Fox Sports that reported that Klinsmann wasn't going to be calling Donovan in, and then Donovan responded with a 1 goal, 2 assists performance against the Philadelphia Union in a 4-1 beatdown, where the unmentioned goal was an own goal from Philadelphia caused by the presence of Landon Donovan. So that was basically Donovan's FU to Klinsmann moment, and I think any doubts about whether or not Landon Donovan belongs on this side were erased by that, which he was by far the best player on the pitch in that game.
Yeah, and I think what's going to happen, I mean, if Donovan even said that he'd be willing to play in the Gold Cup, which is something, I believe in our first episode we talked about the possibility, second episode, and we said there's almost no chance if he doesn't get called in these qualifiers they'd be in the Gold Cup. But now it kind of seems like he might be on the Gold Cup roster. And honestly, I could see him on that squad and just kind of just doing his own thing and just showing why he belongs on a team and just almost one of those brushing off Klinsmann kind of like something you might see in like a sports movie from like a bratty diva, but just in a FU mode, as you said.
And for the Gold Cup, because it's going to be a mix of MLS veterans who don't have many caps and young kids basically playing in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Seeing Landon Donovan and Stuart Holden out there, that's got to raise their confidence.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wish Donovan was on this team now for these 3 qualifiers.
Me
but,
too.
I mean, Klinsmann's going to be stubborn. They obviously, we talked about this, they obviously don't get along and they don't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
And this saga is going to be interesting because if he's not on the Gold Cup team, I mean, it's going to be a long summer trying to figure out where he belongs going forward.
Yep. You just got to hope that he gets called. Because if Klinsmann refuses to call him in for the Gold Cup, it's clearly not, he's not back to fitness, he's not ready. You can no longer justify that.
And I wonder if even if Klinsmann decided, I feel like the higher-ups at USA Soccer are going to sit him down.
Yeah,
and say, Jürgen, you gotta bring him in. This is our most marketable player.
Yeah, because
and most successful player that we've ever had.
Yeah, it's like even if Dempsey's the best. Dempsey's clearly the best player on the team right now, but he is nowhere near the value to U.S. Soccer that even if he's worth more as a player, the value of Donovan.
Yeah,
it's harder to quantify.
All right.
But if we're going from players that Klinsmann clearly does not like to players that Klinsmann clearly has a little bit of a man crush on. And that would be Danny Williams. Now, you can see his talent, you see where he should be good, but he has just not been good for the U.S. in most of the appearances. And to further that, as you said, he is not playing for Hoffenheim right now. So,
when you are not playing for a team in the middle of a relegation race where the manager is basically trying every potential available option, what does that say about your form right now? There is no justifiable reason why Danny Williams should be on this squad.
Yeah, and because even so, like his best position is in that holding number 6 role that Michael Bradley plays, and if Michael Bradley's not giving it up to Danny Williams. And I think Klinsmann calls him in because he wants to. I think the argument when he first got called in is how versatile he was. But he has looked awful anytime he's been playing anywhere but that number 6 role. They tried putting him out on the left. He was awful. They tried putting him on the right. He had a bunch of messed up passes. Took Ricardo Clark level shots, except for they flew far over the bar.
His distribution is absolutely atrocious, and I can see they want to bring him in maybe because Jones is going to be 32 in November.
Yeah,
but I don't think he plays that role better than excuse me, even Maurice do.
Yeah, it's a conundrum.
Which is why you hope Stuart Holden returns to full fitness.
Yeah,
because that's where Stuart Holden is at his best.
I
don't know why Danny Williams is on this team. He hasn't impressed me in any of his 12 USA games. He's not playing for a team that is one of the worst in the Bundesliga right now.
Yeah.
So he'll probably get time in one of the friendlies.
He'll probably, unfortunately, get time in one of the qualifiers, at least.
I hope he doesn't start one of them.
I hope so too.
And then one more midfielder to talk about. Brek Shea got himself onto this squad.
Another guy who was not playing, but Stoke said he was working himself back up to fitness, so he played a couple games and then he wasn't fit after. So I have no problem with him being in this camp because he is young, and if he's just in for the camp and trying to work himself back in and he can get in the friendlies. If he sticks, I see Breck Shea as such a high ceiling player that there's really no downside to calling him in, even if he kind of goes against what Klinsmann says he wants to call in for players.
See, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I want players that I know can help me now in the qualifiers.
Yeah.
Breck Shea, and it seems like Klinsmann is going to be making a ton of exceptions to his rule about who's playing in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
They should ask Stoke, would you like us to put him in for the Gold Cup just to work himself back into match fitness before the season starts?
I agree with that. But, I mean, the one thing is that he did say that Klinsmann said, and that I think does hold more weight than some of his other things that he's reneged on already, is that he said he wouldn't call in any European or Mexican-based players for the Gold Cup that he didn't call into this camp.
Other than the Scandinavian guys, obviously.
The Scandinavians, they play the same season in the MLS if they're in season now, because at that point then all those European guys that kind of were left off this roster, they're going to be off in the off season for a couple weeks before the Gold Cup, up to a month before the Gold Cup even comes. So
that's true.
So to have Shea here working on that, and then if he gets called in the Gold Cup, I think that'd be a good thing. I'm not sure he will be, but I think that would be best for everyone.
Yeah, but so the way this midfield is positioned, what do you think the shape of this team is going to be midfield wise?
Well, I think the fact that you have, I mean, Dempsey's listed as a forward, but he's going to play in that kind of reserved attacking midfield role. So you're really looking to fill the two middle holding spots and the two guys that are higher up on the wings. And all
right, so the two middle spots are filled.
Yeah, they're Bradley and Jones all day, every day. And I think guys that can come in and step in for various games. You have Dave Williams will probably play some there. Stuart Holden might play there, but he can also play up at that higher up spot. He provides great two-way play. And I think you see then basically trying to fill those two wings. I think Zusi's probably guaranteed to start. He's kind of just taken that spot. Even he hasn't really laid resounding claim to it, but it's his. And then I think on the other wing, that's where you might see Hercules Gomez or Eddie Johnson pull back from forward spots to that left wing, or you could see someone maybe like a Sasha Kleshtin.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Kleshtin.
No, and he's had a under the radar really good season. He's only 27. I feel like he's been around for a while.
Yeah, well, he did burst on the scene. So, yeah. The thing we've talked about, Kleshtin, we don't like him starting. We like him coming off the bench.
Yeah.
But, I could see Graham Zusi getting a start and then Kleshtin coming on after about 60, 65 minutes.
Yep.
I was really surprised that Benny Feilhaber didn't get called into this camp.
I thought he's been playing alongside Zusi, and he's been close to, if not better, for most of the season. Zusi's had a couple of games where he's kind of really set himself out, but Feilhaber's been overall more solid.
Yeah, I mean,
but then again,
definitely I'd want him on the team over Davis or Evans.
Yeah, I think maybe I really hope that he's called in for the Gold Cup, being that he's based in the MLS again after a couple of failed European experiments. So he's one of those guys. I think after we won't talk about this until after the qualifiers, but when we try to predict our Gold Cup roster, but
that's gonna be fun.
It's who knows less about the MLS. Yeah, so I agree that Feilhaber probably, I think he should have been in. I have a soft spot for him. The way that Bob Bradley had it for Sasha Kleshtin.
Yeah.
Because he got called. He deserves it now, but he got called in a number of times and he really did not deserve it.
Yeah, Kleshtin's really the wild card. If he could start and give you a solid 75, 80 minutes of work before getting subbed off, he would make this team so much better. It's just there's no precedent other than a hat trick he got. Was it against Sweden where he scored a hat trick?
It might have been. That was a while ago.
That was a long time ago. So there's no recent precedent with him in the national team. He's good. He's great for Anderlecht.
Yeah. I think my issue, I would like him so much more if he didn't have that gross mustache. But
yeah, he's pretty disgusting looking.
It's wrong. It's wrong to hold those biases, but God, he needs to shave that. So that's looking at the midfield. So considering like the more I think about it, considering you're basically filling those two holding positions and they're locked in stone for the qualifiers, and then filling the wings because Dempsey's going to spend a lot of time in the center of the park position. I guess Corona, even Kleshtin and Holden could take some space there. Breck Shea also could play out on the left wing. We forgot to mention that.
The Marcus Beasley, if they decide to bring him up.
Yep. Fabian Johnson decided to bring him up. It could be that position has a lot of there's a lot of people that could play there. But
yeah, it has options.
They're not always the best options, but they have options.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about that, I feel like I don't really see where Brad Davis and Evans could even get into a qualifier with the way this team is set up right now, even if they made it through.
Yeah, no, they're at a level below everybody else in terms of talent.
But so because you have some versatility in the forwards, changes some things. But speaking of the forwards, let's talk about them right now. There's not a whole lot to talk about. Nothing particularly surprising. You have Dempsey, Altidore, Eddie Johnson, Herc, and Terrence Boyd, who have been the five that have been in camp for recent past. And
yeah, nothing really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that you might want to see get some run, play a little bit. They're going to be the Gold Cup guys, the Agudelos, the Will Brune. I mean, Chris Wondolowski is going to be on that team.
Yeah.
So there's, one thing I really kind of hope is that in those friendlies, that Terrence Boyd gets some serious minutes.
Yeah.
Because I think he has a lot of talent. He had 16 goals this year in Austria. I think if he can get some serious play, we can kind of figure out more what we have with him, because he's a bigger player, but he's kind of like Josie, not necessarily that typical target forward. So he kind of likes to take people on, even if it looks kind of clunky.
Yeah, he's such a wild card.
So
you have Dempsey, who we know what he is. We have Altidore, who is Jekyll and Hyde, club and country. You have Johnson, who you could play anywhere, essentially. Gold. And you do have a guy like Juan Agudelo, who we talked about his recent.
Just to add that extra offensive threat. He can play that old man game. Going forward. But so
Agudelo turned 20 in November.
Okay, yeah. So it's a very, very young squad of guys that we can call on going forward, which is something nice. So Boyd is the one who's kind of set himself out as can play with the full national team right now. It reads well for the present and the future.
And we haven't seen Boyd in a while, so
yep.
If he's improved upon what he was doing earlier, because he was good.
Yeah.
Earlier. So if he's even better, that gives you an option to play right away.
Yeah.
And these strikers come out of nowhere. We've detailed this before with the way the 2010 World Cup worked.
Yeah.
Terrence Boyd, I think this is his chance to become a permanent fixture, because Gomez is on the decline. And Eddie Johnson we haven't even been playing him at forward, basically.
No. He's been in good form, though, with Seattle, so maybe he'll get a shot there, too. You never know.
Yeah, and he's
kind of breaking up there. Fogarty?
Yeah.
It was kind of breaking up there. What were you saying about A. Johnson?
No, I said he's been good in his little 20-minute appearances.
Yeah.
Coming in off the bench, and he still has that speed, which you really like when the other team's defenders are getting tired.
Yeah. So that'll be he provides a nice little spark, which I think will help. Now we look at this the squad that's called in. It's 31 guys. We already know that Corey Ash is gone after Belgium, and we already discussed that. We know there's the 3 of the goalkeepers that are going to be gone. So that brings us to 27. We'll probably carry 23 going into the qualifiers. Who do you think of those 4 guys that are going to miss out from the remaining?
I can't see them getting rid of Parkhurst just because they'd only have 7 defend. If they decide to play Beasley as a defender, I think Parkhurst is gone.
Yeah, I mean if Beasley would, because look, right now they have 9 defenders in camp if you count Beasley as a defender. So and they're going to drop Ash. So I mean 8 is a kind of standard number, but I agree that maybe Parker. I don't know. I think if you're calling in Parkhurst at this point, he's going to stick around.
All right, so we'll keep Parkhurst for now.
I feel like a lot of the attrition is going to come in that midfield.
All 5 strikers or 5 forwards that are currently listed will make the team.
Yeah, they'll stick around. I think you'll probably.
So what forwards do you think are gone?
I think you'll probably lose the Brads. Gotta hope.
Yeah, both of them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That leaves you with 9 midfielders.
So that you would have to think either Shea or Williams, right?
Yeah, I could see. I honestly could see Stuart Holden getting dropped from the qualifiers, unless he really impresses. I think he might be dropped from the qualifiers and just kind of kept in the camp training. And
I think Shea's going to get dropped.
Yep.
I think this is more of a fitness test for him.
Yep.
So, if Shea's gone, then you have, right now, Bradley, Adu, Kleshtin, Jones. We're going to drop Holden for now. That leaves you with Williams, Zusi, and Corona. So if Shea is gone, and are we going to say that Holden is gone right now?
I think he will be.
All right, so that's 4 forwards gone: Davis, Evans, Holden, and Shea.
Yeah.
So that's 3 goalkeepers. That's 8 defenders.
8 in the midfield and 5 at forward. So we've got to drop 1 more from the game day squad at least.
Yeah.
It's sad to say it, but it could be someone like Joe Corona.
Which I would hate.
Yeah, it bothers me, but I could see it. I think it'll be kind of like we did last time, where we carry those extra guys on the squad, keep them in camp, and keep them traveling. You just don't put them in their kit on game day.
Yeah, I'm tending to agree with you, especially in the middle. Klinsmann seems to have his guys, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think Danny Williams is going to definitely be on this squad for the qualifiers.
Yeah, it scares me. It scares me. But that's the Klinsmann run world we live in right now.
Yep.
So now that we know who's playing, should we move on to talking about these first two friendlies?
Yeah, sure.
So we started out against Belgium, and as you said, they called in a stacked team. Mostly, I think the part of the reason that they called in a better team than Germany is Germany's playing 2 friendlies. They're playing us and they're playing Ecuador. Belgium they're playing a qualifier against Serbia on June 7th.
Yeah, and Germany has a bunch of players in the Champions League final.
True. So they have a lot of players. Yeah, Bayern and Borussia. Yeah, because look at this team they called in. They called in Simon Mignolet, who he's been one of the best. He's been great when he's played. Thibaut Courtois or whatever. Who is for 21? He's been out of control for Atletico this year. And
they have two goalies on the rise, and Courtois, he might be looking at a big time move coming up.
Well, he's owned by Chelsea.
Yeah.
So.
But we'll see if they want to keep loaning him out.
Yeah. And then you look at this their back line: Van Boyten from Munich, Company, Vertonghen, Vermaelen, Nicholas Lombards, who I actually really like as a player. Not that I've been watching too much Zenit games, but a couple times I've seen him.
Yeah, but no, they have a solid back line highlighted with Vincent Kompany, one of the 10 best defenders in the world.
Yeah.
And Thomas Vermaelen, who's been around forever, is only 27.
Yeah, Van Boyten's 35, but other than that, they're 27, 26, 27, 28 across as the... I don't know much about their fullbacks, to be honest, but then you look... Oh, it doesn't get any less scary for the U.S. to go forward. Moussa Dembele, Marani Fellaini, Alex Weitzel, DeFore is great. Hazard, both Hazards, called in.
Yeah.
And then
it's a murderer's row of just great players.
Jeez, then you look at their forwards: Morales, who has been great for Everton; Lukaku, who's great for West Brom; Benteke, who was fantastic for Villa in their relegation battle; Kevin De Bruyne, who is 21, and he's another guy on the rise. It's just
they had the number 2, and I think not.
Number 2 what?
They had the number 2 and 3 scorers in the Premier League this year.
Yeah.
They had the number 2 and 3 scorers in the Premier League, in Lukaku and Benteke, or I think I'm reversing it, Benteke and Lukaku.
Yeah, it's insane. They haven't made a World Cup in a couple rounds, which is just mind-boggling.
If they make the World Cup this round, watch out.
Yeah, scary.
This is an incredible team.
Yeah, we're as you might be able to tell listening to us, we're just kind of sitting here, just like we'd seen this roster before multiple times, and just looking at it again, we're just breathtaking. It's just breathtaking.
Yeah, it's an incredible side. It's going to be we played Belgium before, and we didn't do too well. This roster is a hell of a lot better than that roster.
Yep. So you have to wonder how much they'll. I mean, they have a week off in between our friendly and their qualifier, as opposed to us, where we go. I think it's like 4 days off. So you have to wonder how. I mean, so they might actually play a lot of these guys, especially. I mean, like Van Boyten probably won't play because he's going to be Champions League final. But some there's no one that's not available, and it could get ugly. If we're not ready. So what do you see coming out of this game?
This game is going to be. I think it's huge if we hope to establish any type of counterattack.
Yep.
Going forward, this is the game where it's going to have to where they're going to have to work on that, because they are not going to be able to they're not going to dominate possession.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to get that shot. And they're more athletic than us at every position. This game is going to basically be a huge mental challenge.
Yeah.
And
we might almost have to.
There's no.
We don't have to play that Bob Bradley style counterattack.
I can't see us winning this game. There's no conceivable way I think that we can win. If we get a draw, it would be incredible.
I think whatever we get, any result in this game is a huge confidence boost.
I think even a 1-goal loss would be a nice boost. Yeah.
I think it's a lot of it's going to be about getting some of these younger players into a big time situation and seeing what they can do.
That's the. I think even a 1-goal loss would be a nice boost. Yeah. It's a lot of it's going to be about getting some of these younger players into a big time situation and seeing what they can do.
It's, I think it's a lot of it's going to be about getting some of these younger players into a big time situation and seeing what they can do.
really what it's going to be about, because Belgium brought in the A squad with well-known players throughout the world, and this is one of those games where I don't think the big guys like a Dempsey, a Bradley, or a Jones are going to go the distance against this team.
No.
And I think it's going to be a lot of mixing and matching towards the end. But I think we're going to lose. I'm trying to be optimistic, but yeah.
I think the fact
it's not looking too good.
I think the fact that we have two friendlies so close together, like they won't play a lot of the big guys 90. Like I feel like a lot of our best players will maybe see action in one of those games, or they'll see limited action in both. So.
Yeah, or you give them a half here, half there.
Yeah, exactly. It won't be. We'll see a lot of strange. I feel like we'll see a lot of strange lineups. So I think when you combine that with the fact of how awesome that Belgian team is, there's a risk there of getting blown out of the water because we don't know what we're doing. But we'll see.
Yeah. So that's the Belgium game, and
now we move on to.
Then on the 2nd of June, we have a German squad coming in.
Yep. Germany, they've called in a second tier squad. They still have a lot of talent, and they have a bunch of young guys that are on the verge of making that leap. Like you have a Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who is 21-year-old keeper who has been fantastic for Mönchengladbach. You have Julian Draxler, who's 19 for Schalke. Andre Schürrle for Leverkusen. And those are the young guys I was talking about. But you still have a lot of other players, and they're 24, 25-year-old. Let's see, you have Klose called in, who's 34. And that is it for guys over the age of 27.
No, they have Mertesacker and Westerman, 28 and 29.
All right, Mertesacker. Okay, sorry, I was looking at the attacking forces. Yep, but still, it's a very young team. It's mostly German-based. There's, as you said, Mertesacker, Podolski, both Arsenal men, and then Klose is in Serie A. So it's a very young squad. I think this game is a chance for us to kind of get maybe a little more momentum. But as you say that, if we take them lightly, they're very prone to blow us out of the water again. So
yeah, I really like the way Jogi Low mixed in a few veterans with younger guys.
Yep, it's what we'd like to see from his former boss.
Yeah, he's building a squad. He's basically readying his squad for the World Cup.
Yep.
And bringing in guys that would be on the fringe of this World Cup and then would be fixtures going forward. What's going to be interesting is, I think the minutes of who plays, we're going to have to wait for the Ecuador game to see who they throw out there.
Yeah.
Because Podolski won't go the distance.
No.
There's no reason to leave him out there. I doubt Klose will go the distance. They brought in Max Cruz for just to give him a look. So I think we'll see a lot of him.
Yep.
And
yeah, it's interesting that you look at they only called in 2 natural forwards. I mean, Podolski has played more through the middle with Arsenal because after Giroud went down at the end, when got suspended at the end of the season, Podolski was playing through the middle. So, but it's just going to be it's going to be a lot of Cruz. It's going to be a lot of the Draxler, Schürrle, Stefan Reinhardt's kind of type people in the middle.
Yeah, Sidney Sam on the wing. On the opposite wing with Podolski. It's a very interesting squad. They brought in a ton of defensive mids. And you have Kevin Grofkrug on the other wing. They have guys who have been playing high-level football in the Bundesliga for years, who maybe just weren't able to get into the squad beforehand. This is their chance. A lot of guys with 0 caps, 2 caps. So it's a very solid mix. It's a game we could win. It's also a game we could get absolutely killed. So
it's one of those ones I think I would kill for like a 2-1 win here. That'd be because I don't think we're going to shut them out, but I think we can score against them.
Yeah.
Because even the veterans defenders are brought in, like Mertesacker, he's not infallible.
No, he's one of the he can easily be prone to somebody making a run and getting beat just athletically.
He's not quick.
And no, he's slow. He's also very capable of probably scoring a goal against us off a corner kick, though. So this game is going to be interesting. This is the one to watch.
Yeah. Oh, one thing.
And it could be a huge confidence boost.
One thing that I just thought about when you were talking about the threat of Mertesacker scoring, and Close is great with his head as well, off corners. You look at it, you think normally most teams would probably send their 2 center backs to mark the 2 biggest aerial threats, but Beasler's not exactly great in the air. Gonzalez is, but that's the one really benefit of having Cameron out there. He can step in and help cover some of that slack.
Yeah.
But so it.
And you would assume that this would be a game that Goodson would see just for that reason.
Yeah, true. It's true. Yeah, it's I'm really curious to see what Klinsmann throws out there for those friendlies.
Yeah, especially this one, because Belgium, we're going to be outmatched either way.
Yeah.
This one could come down to Klinsmann's tactics.
And you know he wants to beat Germany. You know he wants to beat Yogi.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's going to have them fired up for this one.
Yeah. It will be it'll be fun to watch. I'm definitely excited for it. Is this what day of the week is this one?
June 2nd is let me just get it up. June 2nd is a Sunday. So it's a Wednesday the 29th against Belgium.
Sunday against. All right, so everyone kick back, relax.
Sunday the 2nd against Germany.
Kick back, relax on a nice lazy Sunday, and watch some USA Germany. No, that's what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we'll have to have another podcast following those before the qualifiers start.
Yep.
To get ready, because I feel like there's going to be a couple things that we might need to assess about the performance and the decisions of Jürgen going forward.
Yeah. Want to do the 23 for 2014 after the qualifiers, or you?
I mean, it's our regular segment, so why not break it down right now? I think now that
Any changes you want to make right now?
Well, looking at the changes we made last time, which was none. I think that the fact that Faulhaber wasn't called in, do you see him making enough distance in that time to get back?
As of right now, there's no way that we could keep him on the World Cup roster.
No,
I think.
I agree with you.
I'm going to cross him off.
So Faulhaber's probably gone, and who comes back on? I mean, the 2 guys that we took off that roster were Shea and Williams. And
I think Williams has to be back on.
Yeah, it's sad. It makes me unhappy. But
this camp with how terrible he's playing.
Yeah.
I'm putting Williams on the squad.
And taking off Faulhaber. Should we review who we have otherwise?
All right, yeah. I'll
Never.
Defense: Gonzalez, Cameron, Beasler, Chandler, Johnson, Castillo, Goodson. That's Fabian Johnson. I don't see that changing. Do you?
No, those are the big 7 that we were saying definitely anchored that defense.
Midfield: Bradley, Jermaine Jones, Zusi, Adu, Williams just added, Landon Donovan, Kyle Beckerman, who might be on his way out, and Beasley. And then forwards: Dempsey, Eddie Johnson, Josie, and Boyd.
I think we're set with those forwards.
Yeah, the forwards are. I think Kyle Beckerman
Is gone.
is gone.
Who takes Beckerman's spot?
I think right now it's a 2-man race. Actually, no, it's a 3-man race between Kleshtin and Stuart Holden.
Yeah, I mean, we said last time we weren't willing to put Holden on until we saw something from him.
Yeah, and I'm still not willing to put him on.
So is it? I think it might be Sasha. It might be Sasha time.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him on. He Anderlecht.
Yep.
And
I
Greg
think
Shea still is not fit.
he kind of fills that same Fallhaber type spark off the bench role.
Yeah, and I can't see, unless Joe Corona does something incredible in this camp. Right now, I don't see him on the team. We can't put any of the Swedish or Norwegian-based guys on until after we see them play in the Gold Cup.
Yep.
So,
but there'll definitely be some changes afoot coming up in the next month or so. We'll probably run.
Yeah,
through
we might have to. We could even just shift Beasley from the midfield to the defense based on what happens in these 5 games coming up.
Yeah, based on the fact that that he was named there in the official roster. Anyway.
Yeah.
Should be interesting. I mean, I think that gives us more balance. We kind of already assumed that he'd be able to play that versatile role. We had him as that de facto 8th defenseman anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's really going to be if anyone really sticks out in the camp, or if anyone comes in the Gold Cup and just goes to town on Martinique and such. I'm hoping to see maybe a mix or a Josh Gatt potentially at that point.
A Bedoya maybe.
Bedoya, yep. Those are the type of guys. The Bedoya fits in that same. He's a little bit less technical than a Kleshtin or a Fallhaber, but he kind of fits that role. That guy that kind of can come in, play wide, play through the middle, and provide a little offensive spark. And the way this team is set up, I think one of the biggest issues is everyone complains how we lack those players, but the way the team is set up, we don't have a lot of space for more than 1 or 2 of them. Yeah,
I agree 100%. So let's just go over the roster. This is right now R23 for 2014. Guzan, Howard, Raimondo in goal. Defense, Gonzalez, Cameron, Beasler, Chandler, Fabian Johnson, Castillo, and Goodson. Midfield, Bradley, Jones, Zusi, Danny Williams, Donovan, Kleshtin, and Beasley. Up front, Dempsey, out the door, Eddie Johnson, Hercules Gomez, and Terrence Boyd. So that is the squad.
That's the squad.
As of right now.
That is who we see.
Friday, May 24th.
That is who we see. Jürgen Klinsmann putting on that plane to Brazil.
Yep.
And let's hope that plane is still destined for Brazil, and let's kind of hope that Klinsmann is still the one in the pilot seat. Well, not really, not for the actual plane. That might be disastrous, but but you get my drift. So I think that's all we have for today. We have finally have 2 very big games coming up, followed by 3 more qualifiers. We'll be back with you probably next 2 weeks again, following the qualifiers.
Yeah, next week is both qualifiers, so we'll be back as soon as those end.
Yep, we'll be ready to break them down for you, and set up. So thank you.
All right. So thanks for joining us.
Yep. Thanks again.
Check out the blog, Confessions of an American Soccer Junkie,
and check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Twitter at US_Soccer Junkie, or me personally at Popko DKG,
or me at SAF5109.
And hope you enjoy some. We'll have some more content up on the website now that we have the wonderful Steve Fogarty joining me as a writer as well. So thanks again for joining us. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.